What was that SmackDown? That SmackDown was absolutely terrible, and we're going to go through it match by match, segment by segment. I'm about to burn this episode to the ground. This is Wrestling Brother Talk Smack. Wrestling Brother is out, so I am filling in, host of Triple Threat Wrestling. So I'm going to hope to do him justice. I know he keeps it real on this show. I know he's opinion based, and I'm going to give you all of my opinions. We're going to break this down and how terrible it was. Let's get right into it. Before we do, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Show your support. If you want to see this kind of content all the time, we drop all kinds of content for you weekly. So make sure you hit that button. Show your support for us. We truly appreciate it. Let's get into the SmackDown episode. So we got Randy Orton cutting promo again. But this promo, it's just a wash and repeat of last week's promo. I got to think about my legacy. I got to think about number 15. Cody told me to listen to the voices. Cody told me he wanted the best version of me. We heard the same thing last week. And I know Randy's good on the mic. I think that the problem with WWE is we get into this, we need to have the moment. We need to have the WrestleMania match we want. And they don't follow a good story to get to that moment. And it's terrible. So the beatdown on Cody, the heel turn, absolutely phenomenal. That is one of the best things on SmackDown for the whole year. But what's the follow-up? Obviously, Cody had to sell last week. He couldn't be there. But Randy had a good promo last week. He did the beatdown on Matt Cardona, which, good, right? It was good. The promo just felt flat for me to start the show because it's the exact same thing we heard the week before that. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that Cody wasn't there to go head-to-head with him in a promo, and they can't dig deeper. We will see what happens next week because now they both should be on SmackDown until WrestleMania. But we also need to get to that ending of SmackDown, the beatdown angle. I got a lot of thoughts about that too. But anyway, so Randy Orton's cutting his promo. He's talking about what he did to Cardona and all this stuff. So Cardona comes out with his wrist brace on because he broke his arm. Actually, they say he broke a bone in his wrist. And he comes out with a mic, and Randy says, "Oh, you got something to say? Just say it." And Matt Cardona just blasts him with the microphone, sends him outside of the ring. So obviously, Matt Cardona trying to show that he's pissed. He wants his revenge, but it's Randy Orton, so we know how the show goes. But backstage, Randy Orton's looking for Nick Aldis, showing fire. He said, "Look, if you don't give me the match, I'm gonna start listening to the voices, and I don't know, I can't be held responsible for what's gonna happen." So all this books him in the match for later in the night. But the thing with Randy is, like, I wish that he would be like 09 Randy Orton. You listen to the voices, you show that with your facial expressions, but it feels like he's just saying it to say it. Like, I'm listening to the voices again. It's time to hear the voices. I gotta listen to the voices. And it's like, it's really falling flat. Like it's good that the initial beatdown was good, but it just feels like it's a watered down '09 Randy Orton. Like, I haven't seen that oomph, that really dangerous side. Like we saw it one time. We need to see some diabolical shit on the way to WrestleMania for this to really land right. Elsewhere backstage, we got Trick Williams talking to Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis says he's impressed, and Trick Williams is going to get a WrestleMania match. And he goes on, I got to tell Lash, I got to call my mama, I got to do this and that. Sammy's in the background here. He's visibly upset. What about my match? Nick Aldis said, "Hey, you aren't you aren't getting momentum right now, so you can't have a match." So that prompts Sammy to attack Trick Williams. Now I'm thinking Sammy and Trick are headed to a WrestleMania feud at this point. Like, obviously they're going to fight each other. It'll be a good match. Maybe Sammy starts listening to the darker side and tries to pick up a win against Trick Williams. Maybe a slight double turn situation, even though Trick Williams, I think, is really good in the neutral area where he can be a face and a heel at the same time. He loves being cheered by the crowd, but it's like The Rock back in the day. Like, you do heel shit, but you're also cool. You're a baby face. So, like, Trick Williams is in a very good spot that we haven't seen a lot of superstars in a long time. But obviously, I'm thinking him and Sami Zayn are going to go into this match, and it's going to be a good match, right? Like, obviously, we're building toward it. We're building to the story. Me and Wrestling Brother and MVP, we say this all the time: follow the story where it goes. And when you abruptly stop to get to somewhere else you want to be, it hurts the storytelling. And also, it also hurts whatever moment you're building to if there's no story going to it. I'm going to get to that in a minute. The next segment, we got Charlexa in the ring with the Bella Twins. All right match, kind of clunky at times. I hate how Nikki Bella tags herself into the match, but she's like halfway across the apron, like not holding the rope or anything. So, like, why are we counting that? I don't know, but it's for story purposes. Come on, it's for the story. Lash and Nia are out there. Lash Legend punches Alexa Bliss, which causes the Bella Twins to get the win. The ref clearly saw it. I mean, there's no way you can avoid what happened, and she was literally looking at it, but that's not the finish of the match, so we can't call it DQ. Which you could have, because no matter what, we're going to the same place, I think, as long as we're following the story. You then have Lyra and Bailey come out and they get involved. So we have 4 tag teams, right? I really think we're building to that TLC match at WrestleMania, multi-women tag team TLC match. I feel like you should add the Kabuki Warriors in there, and maybe Kairi Sane costs them in a way, so that she can further that with Asuka. Maybe have a post-match angle where she gets her WrestleMania moment and turns on Asuka. But have 5 teams in there would be great. I think that that's a good sweet spot. All the tag teams involved are going to work, and that's a way to get all of these talented women on the show. So I'm all for it. But Charlexa's in the back selling it, and then the Bella Twins say, "What's wrong with you pushing us out there? You know, we're going to do whatever it takes to win to get these tag team championships," and blah, blah, blah. And it was just whatever for a segment. I mean, obviously, like I said, Lyra and Bailey are going to be facing the Irresistible Forces on Monday. So I'm really hoping that that ends up in a DQ. We get all these teams out there. We'll be on Raw, so Asuka and Kairi can get involved. So I hope that we get the announcement Monday. It's going to be a TLC match. It's going to be official from Adam Pearce. And that's what I really hope is going on. Because, again, we got to follow the story. So the story is telling us we're going to get a multi-women tag team match at WrestleMania, whether it be TLC or whatever. But if we just end up with like Lyra and Bailey versus the Bellas or something, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense. So clearly I'm hoping it's going to be a DQ and we get more tag teams involved, and that's going to be our Mania match. So we get to one of our Jelly Roll sightings of the evening, talking to Damian Priest and R-Truth, and R-Truth thinks the Judgment Day's back together, and it's not, because it still exists over on the other show. And then Rhea shows up, and R-Truth thinks that Jelly Roll is Dom Mysterio. It's just silly comedy, but it also didn't fill a purpose either. You know, like R-Truth and Damian can do their thing, but I don't know. It was just a segment to get people on the show. I mean, Damian, at least Damian Priest and R-Truth, but didn't do much for me. And I mean, Jelly Roll, I'm gonna get to him in a minute. This was one of like 4 appearances tonight. When I get to the 3rd or 4th one, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts, but he was in this one at first here. So the next thing we got, Rhea Ripley comes out and she cuts a promo on Jade that's not, it's not groundbreaking. You know, I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's not like bringing up anything new for this. Now, granted, they are at a disadvantage because they've never even seen each other until Rhea Ripley won the Elimination Chamber. You know, maybe they saw each other once or whatever, but I'm talking about like talking to each other or getting involved with each other. They have no chemistry. There's no house shows anymore that they could have tested their chemistry together before Rhea Ripley won and build to something. So Rhea just is going out there to talk about how she's just great. She's going to be a women's champion. and that gets Jade and the baddies coming out. I don't know if they're calling them that. I assume so. They're just Jade and um, uh, they're just Jade and B-Fab and Michin. So here's the problem. This is the biggest problem of this whole segment. Jade comes out. Jade has B-Fab and Michin. B-Fab starts talking first. B-Fab was cutting some work on that mic. I mean, B-Fab was pretty solid. Michin also pretty solid to a point. I mean, she brought up how they've all been grinding, but because they're not Rhea Ripley, they don't get the opportunities, which doesn't kind of make sense. It's not like Rhea Ripley had special treatment. She was in a going nowhere fast Judgment Day version initially, and then it flourished into something else, and Rhea did the work on her own. But neither here nor there. Jade talks, and she's not the best on the mic, but the problem is they're not adding to this WrestleMania match. Like, if this was a PLE feud, I can get past it. You have to sell like Roman and Punk, or Cody and Randy are going to start doing, I hope. Stephanie and Liv have had words, but they just don't mesh. Like, this whole thing isn't meshing, and like they're over talking each other, they're bickering. Nothing is landing, like nothing monumental being said, other than initially it started with, well, your body's built for this, my body's this, your body looks great, but my body looks great. And it's like, that's all you have to say. So they quickly pivot, and they're going this route of Jade has the numbers advantage, which doesn't really need to happen. Jade doesn't need a numbers advantage to beat Rhea. She should be strong enough to do that on her own. But it's fine because she's a heel, so I get it. But all we're showing now is the only thing you can see in this feud is there's a numbers game. But mic work, nothing is being said. Rhea could let Jade flourish and try to build her up in these segments, but it just is bickering over each other, so nothing is being said that's important. This all leads to a match with B-Fab. It's over in like 50 seconds because, again, now we're just showing the numbers game. So obviously Rhea's got to beat all three of them. It just doesn't make sense. I know I talked about this with MVP on the other show, but I don't get how B-Fab and Michin have been in like this months long talking shit with Jade, fighting Jade, attacking with kendo sticks. And then in the promo, they say, when Jade told us her plan, it just made sense. Like, haven't she been against her for months, and now all of a sudden it makes sense? None of this is really making sense. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt for Jade and the baddies to continue as a group. That would be fine. But I mean, I don't have much to say. I mean, it's not going anywhere for me. I'm not too excited for it. Kit Wilson and The Miz have a segment, and Miz is selling the effects of the curse. He doesn't want to be around sharp objects, all this stuff. And maybe we're leading, I don't know what we're leading to be honest, because it's like The Miz was cursed by Danhausen, but Jelly Roll was involved for a brief minute. Now Jelly Roll is going to have a match with Kit Wilson, and I don't exactly know what. I don't know if it's Danhausen and Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson and The Miz at WrestleMania. I am not sure. But Kit Wilson's there by himself. Danhausen shows up and says, hey, what do you got that I don't have? I have beautiful hair, blah, blah, blah. And Kit Wilson says, you are. And before he can say toxic, Danhausen says, well, you are cursed. So Kit Wilson's cursed. And we see that later in the show. But as far as this whole segment goes, like, it may not be monumental to every show, but I'm very excited for Danhausen to be on TV. I like Danhausen a lot. I think his comedy is really funny. I love how he debuted and everyone hated it, but then he's become like the most loved character on television ever since then. So it's been fun to see, but yeah, that happened. All right, so Jelly Roll appearance 2, maybe 3. It might have been 2. It's 2. He comes out for his match against Kit Wilson. Kit Wilson has to start reading more poetry to Jelly. about his size and all this stuff. So rinse and repeat from the last week. But Jelly Roll has his match. Now, I'm not about to shit on Jelly Roll in this episode because I'm very 50-50 on him in general. And I'll tell you why momentarily. But here's where I got to give him his props here. He's good in the ring. I don't care what anyone says. This is an opinion-based show on this channel. And my opinion is Jelly Roll has put in work. He has put in the time that it shows what he can do in the ring, that he really takes it seriously. I mean, he was catching Kit Wilson into power slams off the top rope. The way he sells the moves is really good for a celebrity. He's good, man. I dig him. Yeah, Jelly Roll, he can go, man. I like him in the ring. He's got great mic work. There's a lot of things going great for him. The problem is SmackDown as a whole. This whole episode felt like Jelly Roll was involved in everything. He was involved in talking to Matt Cardona. He's involved in the match with Kit Wilson. He was involved with Damian Priest and R-Truth. He comes out later in the brawl at the end of the show. Like, are we really relying on Jelly Roll to carry this week's SmackDown? Like, he should be building toward his own match, not building up everyone else's match, which really goes to show the lack of talent storytelling on this show versus Raw. Like, SmackDown at times can feel like there's just kind of thrown together stuff. Like I'm gonna get to the Sami Zayn thing in a little bit and my thoughts on that, but Jelly Roll is all over the place, and it's one of those where like I hate people being overexposed as celebrities. Like it can get very tiresome very fast. But then there's that 50% where like, but he's really good at talking. He's decent in the ring for a celebrity. I'm gonna give him credit for that. So I mean, I don't know how I feel. Like I feel like overexposed, but I also feel like he's good enough to be that too, like be on the show in that many segments. So drop in the comments for what you think about that. Do you think Jelly Roll is overexposed, or do you think it's just the right amount of Jelly Roll? We get a segment backstage with the MFTs where Solo essentially apologizes for what happened last week. And then he looks at Tama and says, who wouldn't apologize is Roman. Some mind games there. I do think Tom is going to leave the group at some point here, as me and MVP talked about. The thing with the MFTs and the Wyatts for that same token here, I've said it before, factions can be together, show up together. Like the Nation of Domination did this. They would always come out in promos together, but they all did different things on the show. So it felt like they were also their own individual entity within the faction. And I think that you could have had Tama and Tonga be the tag team champions in their own right. You could have had Solo, hate it or not, if you're going to be the leader of a faction, at least storyline wise, you need to be in the main event scene. Whether you're fighting for a championship or not, you need to be involved in more important things. The fact that you're fighting over a lantern with the Wyatts for this long is not good. And what's even worse is with the Wyatt 6, they have 4 males. The MFTs have 5. You can never do a 5v5 because someone's got to sit out on the MFTs. So naturally you would think Solo would sit out because he's the leader, let the 4 people fight for him. But then the Wyatts would have no choice but to have their leader fight in the match because there's only 4 of them. Nikki Cross is not going to be in these matches. So that's a problem. And then Nikki Cross also doesn't go fight for any women's championship or fight anyone for that matter on the show. So it's just a mess with the MFTs is what I'm getting at. So I think Tama is going to leave soon. He does have Carmelo come up and say, hey, are you going to take this chance at this, or are you going to wait for Solo to tell you it's all right? So you're building to Carmelo is talking to Ely about taking his shots. He's been talking to Tama Tonga and all these people. So in my head, the story is telling me we're going to a multi-man match at WrestleMania. But again, we got to follow that story. Things happen. It's not good for WWE and their storytelling. Shinsuke also comes up and talks to Tama, by the way, and then Talatanga breaks it up. So there's a lot of story being told with Shinsuke and Tama. I am interested to see where that goes, but yeah, I don't know. I think that it's not going to go anywhere until Tama leaves the MFTs, or that's the reason he leaves. So Carmelo goes to the ring. He's waiting for his open challenge, and it's Sami Zayn, which initially I'm like, why in the heck is he out here? Because he already has been here, done this, and he's supposedly fighting Drew McIntyre, arguing with Cody Rhodes, talking to Randy Orton, Trick Williams. He's involved in the main event scene. So again, the story tells us that he's going to go into these feuds with these people, maybe get more world championship matches. But no, we come back to the US title open challenge, and Trick Williams comes out to watch the match. Now, obviously, Sami and Carmelo are cooking. They're having a really good match. Sami kicks out of the first 48. He's trying to go for haluvas. He can't hit one. It's been good back and forth. And then all of a sudden, Trick Williams just grabs the US title and slides it in the ring towards Sami Zayn. And I don't understand that, because it's like you just got your ass hit by Sami earlier in the show. Why are you helping him? Which it's up for interpretation. He wasn't maybe helping, maybe trying to just distract him, see what he would do with it. I don't know. But eventually it comes to where Carmelo is pushing Sami to the ropes, and Sami ducks, and then Trick Williams hits Carmelo, and Carmelo goes to the other side of the ring. So Sami doesn't see it because his head is down. But when he comes back, he sees Carmelo in the corner, and he hits the haluva, and he wins 1, 2, 3. New US champion. There's a lot to break down here, because, again, the story tells us Sami is going for a world title, not the mid-card title. Did you really need to announce that it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the US title? They didn't need the championship. And now you run the risk of Carmelo not even being on WrestleMania, when he's carried that championship for a long time now, many months. I think 5, 6 months now he's been carrying it. So now we run the risk of Carmelo won't even be on the show unless he gets added to the match as a triple threat, or if they somehow turn it into a multi-man, but I don't think that's going to happen. So why does this match need the US championship? Rumor has it that they didn't want to burn anything with Carmelo versus Trick Williams until after Mania. So maybe Sami is a transitional champion until Mania, drops it to Trick Williams, and then Trick and Carmelo can have a proper long feud for that title. But we could have just got there a different way. I mean, if you're going to give Trick Williams the championship or a match at WrestleMania, you could have just said, like, we're going to have a tournament to see who's going to fight the US champion, or whatever you got to do. But we could have got here some other way than give the championship to Sami, to potentially have him drop it to Trick, to have him go back against Carmelo for the US title. It's just not, I don't know what WWE is thinking here. This decision makes absolutely zero sense. I hated that it happened. It was crazy. Carmelo deserves much better than that. To lose that way after all these great matches he's had. Carmelo's been probably one of the best performers on SmackDown this whole year. Carmelo's put in the work. He's done it, and he deserved better than to lose the US title and potentially not even be on WrestleMania. That's just a absolutely crazy thing to happen. Next up, we got Jacob Fatu. Let me tell you something about WWE. When they milk something, they frickin' milk it. All that Paul Heyman's been saying for a while is FAFO. But then he says FAF5, which was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Now we got Brock Lesnar rocking FAF5 t-shirts. I'm cool with that. That's fine. But now Jacob Fatu has a similar shirt. Fuck around and try us. But obviously it's Fatu. But this whole fuck around thing is like, what now? Who's next to have a fuck around type of t-shirt in their arsenal? It just, I don't, WWE can really milk it sometimes, but Jacob talks about how he's not there to talk. He wants Drew. They go into a promo battle. Drew comes out. The only thing memorable about this exact back and forth was he said, you know, you're saying I'm taking food out of your kids' mouths. It's my food. And with all, you know, I want to say it, screw your damn kids. And then that makes Jacob want to go after him. So this has been probably one of the best built storylines going into Mania. And the problem with it is we still don't know who attacked Jacob Fatu. So are we just going to forget that? Like when someone attacked Jey Uso a few months ago, are we just going to forget that? Who attacked Jey Uso? Are we going to forget all these things? Like, follow the story. So if Drew didn't do it, he said he didn't do it, then he didn't do it. So Jacob needs to find who did it and have the match with him at WrestleMania. But maybe we'll get there. Maybe it'll be a forgotten mystery on Unsolved Mysteries. Who knows? But it still has been a very good built storyline. It's been awesome. Drew's been playing his part well. Jacob has also been playing his part well. And Nick Aldis comes out and says, look, you guys are going to tear each other apart and I can't be held responsible. The match is unsanctioned at WrestleMania. So this has potential to be a show stealer, because by what I mean is now not the in-ring technical work of it, but they could do some wild stuff. I mean, they already fell off a building. So probably going to see a lot of blood, probably going to see a lot of crazy spots in this one. Will it be a blow off? I don't know. I kind of see them going to Backlash. I see them having another match at Backlash, possibly a Hell in a Cell. Who knows? But we still don't know who attacked Jacob Fatu. That's a problem. So overall, though, it's been a pretty good built storyline. Nothing memorable on the show except for them announcing the unsanctioned match, though. So third appearance of Jelly Roll. He talks to Matt Cardona, says, yo, I'm sorry. Talked to Randy last week, tried to get him to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. That happened. And then Aleister Black and Zelina Vega show up to try to get in Cardona's head. Yeah, I don't have much to say. Aleister Black had so much momentum when he came back and when he fought Cody Rhodes because they had a championship match. He had a lot of potential until he got locked in this Damian Priest battle for 9 months. Which I'm not kidding. I think it was like 9 months, 6 months to 9 months, somewhere in there. Yeah, I think it's 9 months. But anyway, you got him locked into that. And now it's been flat because now they decided to say, oh, you had all this potential behind you, Aleister Black, but now we're going to turn you into Karrion Kross. Is what we're going to do. And by the way, you're not going to do as good of a job as Karrion Kross did either. So Aleister Black is quickly falling down my power rankings. And it's unfortunate. He deserves to be in the main event scene. If I was booking WWE, wink, wink, watch the other video, that's where he'd be. But I'm not getting paid by WWE, so I don't have him in the main event scene because I'm not there. But he deserves better than these backstage segments of trying to get in people's head. Just have him be how he was when he came back and have good feuds and you'll be just fine. So I don't know what they're doing. Tiffany Stratton versus Julia. It was a good match. It was a good match. Tiffany lost because she got distracted by Kiana James. It was there. It was a good match. Obviously, we're building to probably Tiffany versus Julia at WrestleMania for the U.S. title. I don't know how Chelsea Green fits in. I don't know if this leg injury she's got is legit enough to keep her out of Mania versus it being a minor thing. I don't know. But if she was healthy, I would like to see Chelsea Green in that match as well and get a triple threat going because Chelsea Green is a very good character on TV. She's one of my favorites, and she deserves to be on WrestleMania. So I'd put her in there if I can. I was thinking about how I wanted Io Sky versus Julia at WrestleMania for the U.S. title, but we're too far gone to really introduce that right now. The feud is with Tiffany Stratton. If I'm right earlier and the Kabuki Warriors end up in that tag team TLC match, what the hell is Io Sky going to do at WrestleMania? So I don't know. I don't know, man. We're got so much talent that we're not even showcasing on WrestleMania, like Gunther and Io Sky and all that. So I would love, in a perfect world, somehow for Io Sky to get involved in this one. But we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath on it. All right, the last segment of the night, Randy Orton has a match with Matt Cardona. Nothing special. He's just targeting the broken bone in the wrist of Matt Cardona. I wouldn't say anything vicious, just like bending the wrist or hitting it against the turnbuckles and all. I mean, it wasn't like '09 Randy Orton who would have just broke his other arm, but it wasn't like that. Obviously, Randy Orton wins, might I add, with another single arm RKO. So that is back at least. So there is shades of that '09 Randy Orton. After the match, Cody Rhodes' tour bus shows up and he charges out there and he's got to get his hands on Randy Orton. He tells Nick Aldis in the hall, like, yeah, I'm just going to talk to him. Obviously, he goes straight for him. They start fighting. And a pull apart brawl is only good if it's done right. And they rarely ever get it right. This one, they really didn't get it right because it was just a lot of punches, the worst thing that happened was Randy Orton ended up in the timekeepers area and then back out again, and they keep getting pulled apart by these security guards to just charge at each other again. Very watered down pull apart brawl. It was not good. And we're literally going from the same thing happened with Roman and Punk, by the way. The initial start is great. This is what we want. We want Randy Orton, diabolical, destroy Cody Rhodes because we want the moment. We want the content creators to say, oh my God, that was amazing. Look at what he did. But then what's the follow up? I preach on this channel. What is the follow up? And the follow up is not good right now. I mean, the pull apart brawl was nothing special. And all we've heard from Randy is thinking about his legacy and how he wants number 15 and all these things that are just rinse and repeat. The only interesting thing as of right now is who's on the cell phone. And he's saying, see you soon, all this stuff. So drop in the comments who you think that is, by the way. Could it be just as simple as it being Cowboy Bob Orton? Is it Ted DiBiase, who just got acquitted of all of his extortion charges? Maybe the heel turn move here is we extort all of Cody Rhodes' financials. Maybe that's what Randy Orton's end goal is. Maybe it's Kevin Owens. I don't know. Drop in the comments who you think it is. But Jelly Roll comes out, 4th appearance, and wants to get involved and try to talk things down, talk to Cody and Randy, and he ends up beating an RKO for his trouble. Now, yeah, I get it that Jelly Roll's got to be involved in these things sometimes because of his interactions with people, but it was the only good thing of this segment was Jelly Roll getting RKO'd. Again, I don't know what the follow-up is. I'm really hoping that Randy and Cody get back to basics of it just being them two. I do not need to see Jelly Roll involved in everything that goes on with these two every week leading to WrestleMania. I don't need to see it. I don't want Jelly Roll involved anymore. He served his purpose. Let him focus on whatever his Mania match is going to be. Like I said, it's that 50-50. I like Jelly Roll, but is it too much? I don't know. So overall, the only newsworthy things come with bad things. So the newsworthy thing is like Jade and Rhea, have a beatdown angle where Jade beats up Rhea, but it was because of bickering and the numbers game and nothing monumental happened. And then Sami Zayn won the US title, but we screwed over Carmelo Hayes out of potentially missing WrestleMania, adding a championship to a match that didn't need it. And it's all bad right there. And then Randy and Cody, where's the viciousness that we saw week 1? Like, I know every week can't be that, but man, it's very watered down since that overall beatdown. So drop in the comments what you think. The road to WrestleMania right now it's a 50-50 thing again. There's a lot of 50-50 in WWE. Like it looks great on paper, But I know it could have been better, and it could have got everyone on the show. And now you have talents like Io Sky, Gunther, Carmelo Hayes. These people may not even make the card. And that's terrible to say. So drop in the comments what you thought of SmackDown. Jarvis will be back next week for Wrestling Brother Talk Smack. But until the next time, we'll see you on the next one.